Hello. So that had been running for 25 minutes, just well within my preferred amount. So when last we left, we rescued Raymond, despite me thinking I had failed and was going to be rescuing a vegetable. Okay. Although his breathing is a bit erratic, Raymond seems steady on his feet. Lead on, Kaveen. I'll be right behind you. This escape with Raymond, and let me guess, Raymond must survive. Well, it says escape with Raymond, so. Hello, there's 3 of you, and you're spending your first turn maneuvering. Captain, guard, guard. I'm gonna save the grenades. There's 2 of you over here. Good. Get into position. Good. Okay, that's really useful. And so is... I can't see her! Oh well. Different murder person. And yeah, that's not going to help you much. You know what? I think there's a mercy kill for you. Except for he missed. Okay. This is a little bit slow. Recently, it's gotten slow on the loading times, and it's gotten me concerned. Here we go. Alarms blare as you hustle Raymond from the Special Projects section of Prosperity Tower, but you encounter no resistance. Raymond unsteadily gropes his way through the corridors of the corporate headquarters, holding onto your elbow for support. Occasionally, the old man fingers the gauze dressing on his head, with his free hand wincing when he touches a tinder patch. Tense minutes pass between the time you exit the building and enter the MTR station. The team remains on high alert, scanning the streets and buildings for signs of Sang security forces until, like a stream of cockroaches, you scuttle underground into the cool safety of the mass transit tunnels. You pay the fare, grab Raymond, and make your way to the subway platform, the sound of the old man's ragged breathing loudly brushing past your ear. Seconds tick slowly while you wait for the subway train to arrive. Did my timer start this time? Yes. Okay. It has been suggested that I redo the operating system and possibly update to Windows 10, which I'm hearing is better than people have been saying. And it might solve a lot of my slowdown issues. We'll see. I'm hoping I'm talking loud enough for my mic to pick me up. Not sure I do. The team hustles Raymond onto a subway car. Look at all these people here that are wondering, who is this person? Who are these people? Yeah. Oh, Shadowrunners. Oh no, stay out of the way. Quietly taking up defensive positions and scoping the platform for signs of pursuit. The old man is unsteady on his feet, but he insists on standing under his own power. He grabs a railing and holds on with white knuckles as the train lurches forward. A group of tourists sit nearby, conspicuously avoiding eye contact with any of you. I do wish they let you use more than 4 characters in the final battles, because that would be nice. The crew looks over the old man with the bandage on the back of his head, exchanging meaningful expressions. Raymond squints at the odd group surrounding him, but his nod indicates that he understands he's among friends. Wu drags his goggles off his head, bending his knees to get a better look at his foster father. A tangled knot of relief, compassion, resentment, and hurt churns across the young man's face as he wrestles with his confused emotions. Fear for his father's health overcomes him then. Raymond, are you all right, little man? I fought against. Oh boy, he does look bad. I fought against the reprogramming. The old man's voice is a little more than a soft croak. His eyes are sunken and surrounded by dark circles. His mother's medical technology must be amazing. It's hard to believe he's walking under his own power so soon after the surgery. Yeah, well, Grandma's an amazing woman. Her high-tech brain surgery, her ownership of the cops, her execution of my partner and those runners. Wu's face hardens and stands up straight, glaring down at the older man. Oh, and the way she had the plastic-faced man snatch her own son. Amazing woman. Real piece of work, no doubt about it. Yeah, tell me about it. Apparently her son is too. Pain and bitterness drip from Wu's deep, raspy voice. This man, whoever he is, has a lot of explaining to do. Are you ready to start telling us the truth, Edward? The old man tilts his head up to the orc towering above him, and though exhausted, his jaw sets firm. Yes, Duncan, I'm ready to tell you everything. I had planned to explain it all when you arrived in Hong Kong. Yeah. Our meeting was postponed due to kidnapping and murder. The old man's mouth purses and his lips quiver for a moment, but he regains control. I never believed it would come to that my mother was capable of. He allows the thought to remain unfinished. The old man leans back on the wall of the subway car and gathers his thoughts. He seems to swoon for a moment, but then inhales deeply, swallows hard, and pulls himself erect. My name is Edward Seng. I'm the only son of Josephine Seng, the CEO of Seng Mechanical Services, heir to the company. Before I left Hong Kong, I was the vice president of special projects, the up-and-coming star of the company. Was prosperity one of your special projects? Something you've never seen before washes over the old man's face of shame. You've heard of it, prosperity, I see. Raymond takes a breath and the labored croak of his voice drops to a monotone. I was part of a project my mother envisioned to rebuild Kowloon Walled City, a walking neighborhood for underprivileged citizens fully integrated with job training programs, co-op, childcare, drug counseling centers. It was a new approach to low-income housing in the East, the springboard to prosperity for hundreds of thousands. Yeah, that doesn't sound like the place I grew up in. Raymond is 20 years away, doesn't seem to hear her. Mother personally oversaw every aspect of the project to ensure that every detail was executed properly. All these poor people are doing everything they can not to listen. Wait a minute. There are sitting animations in this game. Interesting. To ensure that every detail was executed properly. Chose each project manager herself, chaired regular status meetings with architects, builders, visited the worksite for surprise inspections. She was driven to make her renewed, revitalized walled city a success. Yeah, well, so that was Prosperity, another low-income housing project. No, the walled city wasn't the Prosperity project. Raymond covers his eyes with a liver-spotted hand, the dread radiating from him like the stink of decayed meat. Prosperity was something I built at the center of the walled city. Then his hand drops, his eyes roll back in his head, and his face goes slack. A moment later, an invisible grip takes hold of your chest, constricts it, squeezing the air from your lungs. Your vision grays from the edges, and the world surges backward, leaving you suspended in the distance on the periphery of reality. Something is hurtling toward you, approaching you from the fringe of your mind like a bullet train. It screams ahead, closer and closer, until it is upon you, overwhelming you with its presence, and then nothing, silence. Until a scream pierces your consciousness, pulls you screaming to its source. You're back in the walled city, the city of darkness. And map change. Oh, cutscene. Hello. Your mind wrenches, inverts, then violently jerks back into your skull. Your stomach cramps hard and the taste of bile burns your throat. A thin trickle of cold sweat slides down the small of your back and your eyes refuse to focus. Your crew fares no better. Gobbet pulls herself from the floor, madness and folly squeaking worriedly in the folds of her clothing. Isabel grips a railing, her back to the group, retching silently. Ractor leans against Koshei, his ashen face staring at the ceiling. He blinks rapidly, processing. Gaichu stands perfectly still in the center of the car, hands at his side, his face impassive. Wu breathes deeply, his hands on his knees. That wasn't a dream. He shakes his head like a lion's mane and spits on the floor. That was something else. Gobbet's breathing is shallow. She's covered in a thin sheen of sweat. It was a vision. I saw some sort of machine inside the walled city. Isabel turns, squinting in concentration. Her lips are white. It was churning something. It felt wrong, impossible. I think it was ripping. I don't know. Reality? The orc girl shudders. It was ripping a hole in reality. Something is here, my friends. Something has arrived. I believe we have just fallen in over our heads. Wu straightens up, drawing the back of a wrist across his mouth, and I think I got the order of some of the words in Gaichu's line a little bit wrong. What the hell was that, Raymond? No answer. Wu spins to find Raymond cowering, his head in his hand, shuddering and weeping. She's here. Who's here, Raymond? The Queen with 1,000 teeth. Raymond rocks in place, hugging himself, staring past you at someone only he can see. I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there. Uh-oh. Looks like Raymond's gone bye-bye. Shh, Gobbet. Isabel whispers her admonishment. Take it easy. Edward? Take it easy, Raymond. You're with me, Killeen. The old man looks at you as if seeing you for the first time. Killeen! You came! Raymond blinks, his eyes open, his voice is weak, hesitant, disconnected somehow. Are we in the subway? The right corner of his mouth twitches noticeably. Why is he stuttering? He's not. I used to stutter. This doesn't sound like a stutter to me. Something else is going on. Could be the visions. Could be the aborted brain surgery, or some combination of the two. Something bad is happening. Began time ago, and I'm responsible. His eyes open wide. The Queen, prosperity. The Queen with 1,000 teeth. These dreams, visions. They've been coming to you for a long time, haven't they? Oh yes, oh yes. I've been plagued by the nightmares for a long, long time. They began years ago, sporadically at first, vague dreams wrapped tight with guilt, with shame. Raymond's eyes roll back in his head and he closes them tight. Until this last year, when the frequency began to increase. Then the imagery clarified, started to repeat. Teeth, thousands and thousands of teeth. He sways for a moment, dizzy, and the sounds of suffering began to drown out even my waking thoughts. That's when I knew I had to come back. The truth, Ray. To do what? To correct a mistake I made a long time ago. My fault. Prosperity. All those people. All those poor, poor people. The Prosperity Project. You know about prosperity? Shame eclipses the old man's face. Oh dear. Yes, sort of. We already covered this, Raymond. We know that it's in the center of walled city and that Edward Sang built it. Why don't you start at the beginning, Raymond? Tell us what all this is about. The beginning, sometime in the 20s, my mother was awarded the contract to rebuild the housing development, the walled city. Well, from the results, I'd say your mom kind of blew it. Prosperity failed. Frustration appears in the old man's tired eyes. I told you, walled city wasn't the Prosperity Project. So he's come back a little bit. Prosperity was the fortune engine I built at the center of the walled city, my special project. Fortune engine? What are you talking about? You can't create fortune, Raymond. Wu sneers. You kind of can gun show. Some practitioners of Feng Shui believe they can do it. Ever heard of the Bagua, the 8 aspirations? Wu looks at Gobbet flatly. No, Gobbet, I must have skipped school that day. Keep going, Gobbet. I want to hear this. It's Neo Feng Shui. The masters of the craft can map the flow of qi and how it corresponds to different aspects in life. Fame, relationships, creativity, inner knowledge, health, and fortune. Gobbet wrinkles her nose at Wu. That's 6. You said there were 8 aspects. Little Orc shrugs. I don't remember the other 2, but one of them was definitely fortune. So she looks sidelong at Raymond. So what does your fortune engine do? The fortune engine was designed to improve the balance of qi in a negative qi environment. A negative qi environment? Somewhere shitty, like a slum. Like a low-income housing project. I believed, Raymond corrects her, I believed that the fortune engine, the rebuilt walled city, might never become a slum. He drifts off for a moment, remembering. Then he squeezes his eyes shut and lowers his head. But the machine malfunctioned. Malfunctioned how? The mechanism I created to circulate negative qi in the walled city. He brings a liver-spotted hand to his mouth. It got stuck. Stuck on what? Raymond rises, slowly pulling himself from his crumpled heap. His tone turns instructive of the old Raymond, but this time his explanation is halting and weary. Think of the fortune engine as a sort of propeller blade moving through astral space. Circulating qi, keeping it fresh. When qi flows, when the rhythm is right, the results are positive, fortuitous. When I brought my design for the fortune engine to my mother, she embraced it. She more than embraced it, she bankrolled it, put an entire division of Seng Mechanical under me to develop it. Sounds like a big bet. The biggest of her career. Mother said that if the machine could bring fortune to the less fortunate, it would prove my theory. If it could help the poor, imagine what a fortune engine could do for Josephine Seng. But that's not what happened, was it? Something went wrong. The people in the walled city didn't benefit from your fortune engine, did they, Raymond? The old man bows his head, doesn't answer. Why didn't your fortune engine work, Raymond? It got stuck. The mechanism I created to circulate negative qi in the walled city got stuck. You can see Wu's patience blowing away like autumn leaves on a high wind. He rubs his head viciously in frustration. Stuck on what, Raymond? The old man gets a confused look on his face. His lips move soundlessly for several moments. Wu leans in, drops to a whisper, sees in his father's face. Stuck on what? Raymond winces at Wu's turn, stumbles back a step, but it does the job, and the old man focuses. Something in astral space. I wasn't sure what. Ooh, that sounds bad. The machine started pooling negative qi, and the walled city started to fill with it. Fortunes turned bad. I've been places where the feng shui was really bad. That's not what I felt when I was in the walled city. No, qi needs to flow. Eventually, the enormous pool of negative qi became toxic. Fortunes turned from bad to worse, much worse. Raymond's shoulders slump. Mother's vision for a rebuilt, revitalized walled city fell to ruin. It only took a few years for the trapped toxic qi to turn a brand new housing development into a hellish slum. Why didn't you turn it off? I couldn't. Something happened, part of the malfunction. We couldn't turn it off. Then why didn't you blow it up, wrap it in C6 and turn it into a scrap heap? Mother refused. Wu's tone turns icy cold. Why? I never found out. She wouldn't tell me. She would only say that it wasn't worth spending the additional resources to figure out how to fix it or even how to turn it off. She sealed off the maintenance room. Our engines poured a sarcophagus of thick concrete around it so no one would ever find out what we had done. Then she wrote off the project as a business loss and moved on like nothing had ever happened, right? Yes. His face flushes and he fidgets with the gauze bandage on his head. After that, I left Hong Kong, started a new life in Seattle. Found you two. You should have stayed, tried to do something about it. You're a coward, Raymond. Yes. Raymond stands up straight, takes a shaky step towards Wu. Yes, Duncan, I was a coward. And the guilt, the burden of my cowardice gripped me like a vice that never loosened. It's eaten me from the inside for 20 years. And then the nightmares began. Horrible. I still kept working on the problem night and day. Did you ever figure out how to stop it? It took me years, even after you left, to make the connections, find out what to do. But I did. I I figured it out, and still the nightmares intensified until they became unbearable. I knew I had to come back, fix what I had done. That's why I had contacted you, to help me see it through. Wu mumbles something, but all you can make out is the word coward. What about the rip in reality? What's causing the visions we are all having? There's a piece missing. When the machine malfunctioned, when the circulator stuck in machine space, it lodged in another domain, and something lived there. Not good. After 20 years of constant force, the circulator finally began tearing astral space, created a rupture in her domain, and now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through. Yes, she's pushing through, all right. Queen with 1,000 fucking teeth. A thing you brought here, Raymond. I understand that, Mr. Wu. That's why I came back. I believe she's only partially here. She hasn't pushed all the way through yet. Stops his rock and becomes fully lucid. He snaps back at Wu. She's probing her new hunting ground. Must. The emotional strain of his snap at Wu rattles him again. I know what to do now. How to extract the circulator, shut the machine down before she can fully manifest. Just get me to the center of the walled city, the fortune engine. I will do the rest. Please help me. Help them. Which one? Okay, the machine has caused unspeakable misery and needs to be shut down. The walled city is a serious revenue source for the triads. We fix this. Kai Cheng is going to shower some gold. Very cold. These visions are turning my guts inside out. I need to stop them at the source. That's personal. Duncan's right. There's a thing in there, and it needs to be sent home. That's hatred, violence, wrath. You helped us overcome some hairy mistakes when we were kids, right? Now we get to help you fix yours. This is general, what's the word I'm looking for? Not charity, altruism. This is general altruism. This is selfishness. This is monetary selfishness. This is banal selfishness. Materialism. This is personal, life selfishness. This is wrath. This is connection to family, and that is kind of what I've been doing. This first, this second, third, no, first, second, third, fourth, last one. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can go back there. It's not just a thing in there, Noelle. It's a Yama King, a demon goddess. Little Decker's eyes open wide, more white than iris. Her breathing becomes faster, shallower. A horror. We're trapped, Diz. We can't run. Believe me, I want to. It's all I've been thinking of. Rat Shaman's shoulders rise with tension. But the APB is still out on us, and those visions, I got a feeling they're not going to stop unless we make them stop, and that fragile old man is the only way to do it. And there's my timer. So, going to finish this conversation and move on. She looks down at her friend. Her voice is gentle. We've got to take him in there, We've got to help him fix this. I, for one, wish to see this fortune engine. I am intrigued. Rector's pale eyes glint. I willingly go. Gaichu's face remains impassive, but his eyelids lower in anticipation. I have the opportunity to kill a god. I cannot allow the opportunity to pass unanswered. Wu's voice drops to a mumble. I hate this fucking country. I hate this life. Killing is right. We owe you, Raymond, and I'm not walking away from that. I'll help you fix your mess or die trying. Then we'll be even. He states evenly at Raymond, his voice cold. I'm no coward. Okay. So as soon as I get something stable like that, I'm going to go to a new video. See you in a moment.